So coming to abiotic factors, you have studied about abiotic factors. You know what are the different, because from high school classes onwards, you are studying abiotic factors. Abiotic factors mean non-living factors, and biotic factors means living factors. So you have some idea regarding biotic and abiotic factors. So in the case of aquaculture, we are normally in an aquaculture, what we are doing? We are growing fish in an artificial setup or in a natural setup. Whether we are using natural water or we are using artificial water, we have to make sure that that water is of good quality, or water is of some condition which are suitable for the growth of the fish. So here we are checking the physical properties or abiotic qualities of the water. So coming under the abiotic factors, we can see that there are basically two types of abiotic factors. One are physical factors, other are the chemical factors. So physical and chemical factors are the two categories of abiotic factors. So we have to see what are the physical factors. These are the four different types of physical factors which we will take one by one. One is depth, temperature, turbidity, verbs. So these are the different types of physical factors. So first one is the depth. Now importance of the depth is that, here you can see the first line is that the depth is determining the temperature of the water. If a pond water is of higher depth, the water below at the lower level will be cooler. So whereas a pond water, the pond is very shallow, maybe only 30 centimeter in depth or 1 meter in depth, that water may be of higher temperature. So depending on the depth of the pond, deeper the pond, cooler the water, shallower the pond, higher the water temperature. So there is a direct relationship between water temperature and depth. In a deep pond, the temperature of water will be low or water will be always more cooler. Another factor is that circulation pattern. Circulation, if the depth is more, there will be deeper circulation of the water from the upper water to lower water. There will be cycling of water. So that is whereas in a shallow water there will not be any circulation of water. So that is another factor that is affecting that is actually controlled by the depth. And third is the penetration of sunlight. For example, if the water is of 1 feet or 2 feet deep, the sunlight can easily reach the bottom of the water. Even if 1 meter or 2 meter, sunlight can easily reach the bottom of that tank or bottom of the pond. But if the pond is some 40 meters or 50 meters deep, the sunlight may not be always able to reach properly at the lower level of the pond. So the penetration of the sunlight, that is how much sunlight is reaching the various level of water, that is actually controlled by the depth. More deeper the water, more deeper the pond, that means lesser the amount of sunlight reaching the lower layers of water. So that is the peculiarity of that these are the three important factors which are actually controlled by depth. So depth will be controlling the temperature of the water, will be determining the circulation of the water, and will be also determining the penetration of sunlight, and lastly the photosynthetic activity. If sunlight is not able to reach the lower level, that means there won't be any photosynthetic activity in those areas. So these are the importance of depth. So when we are selecting a pond for a aquaculture purpose or growing new fish, we have to make sure that water will be having enough, water will be of good quality and also of sufficient depth, or not too deep or too low. There should be a moderate depth. Usually the depth will be 2 meters or something. so that there will be enough photosynthesis, so that enough amount of food will be produced by the algae, so the fish can easily get sufficient food. So if there is no photosynthesis, the fish may not be able to get enough amount of food. So amount of photosynthesis is important for us. If there is a insufficient photosynthesis, there will be insufficient food or insufficient algae for consumption by the fish. Then, so a depth of 2 meter is most ideal. That the best depth for aquaculture is 2 meter. If it is more than 2 meter, there will be other problems because sunlight may not be able to reach properly at the lower level. So ideal depth for a aquacultural pond or a aquacultural farm is always 2 meters. 2 meters is the ideal depth. So depth and not the volume is the most important factor in determining the fish producing capacity. So if for example, you have two types of, here there is an example, a farm of 20 hectares with an average depth of 10 meter would produce less fish than a farm of 20 hectares with an average depth of 3 meters. So I have told you that ideal depth is 2 meter. So here there are two cases. The depth of one farm is 10 meter, depth of the second farm is 3 meter. That 3 meter farm will be producing more food per unit area compared with the first. So deeper pond is not always good for growth of the fish. Only because the problem is that in a deeper pond there will not be enough amount of food material. The photosynthesis may not be taking place, so fish may not be able to grow properly. So that is the importance of depth. Now we will take one more. This next is the temperature. Going to the temperature depends on several factors. One, it is climate, sunlight and depth. These are the three important factors which are controlling the temperature. Then all metabolic and physiological activities and the life processes such as feeding, reproduction, movement, distribution are all influenced by temperature. So temperature has a lot of importance in the growth and life of a fish. Only if there is an ideal temperature that will be allowing the fish to grow properly. The third point you can say, oxygen content of water generally decreases with the rise in temperature. That is, if you take a warm water, hot water and a cold water, there will be more oxygen in the cold water compared to the warm water. So it has some importance in aquaculture. A warm water carries less oxygen. That means if the water is of higher temperature, it cannot support the many fish, large number of fish growing in that because there is a shortage of oxygen. But in a cooler water will be containing more oxygen, so it can support more number of fish. So that is the difference between a warm water. Warm water cannot support lot of fish. Then temperature shows diurnal. Diurnal means daily. That is, in the morning the temperature may be of certain degree centigrade. Afternoon it may increase. By evening it will again come down. Night it will drop it will again go down. So these are known as diurnal or daily variation, and also seasonal variation. For example, in summer season, temperature of the pond will be more, whereas in a December or cooler cold winter season, the temperature may be low. So that is known as a seasonal variation. So in aquaculture, this kind of daily variation as well as seasonal variation are of importance because that will affect the growth of the fish. So when we are cultivating, we have to make sure that we are providing the fish an ideal temperature which helps them to grow at the optimal condition. Then maximum density of the water occurs usually at 4 degrees centigrade. So it is at the 4 degrees centigrade the water will be maximum dense. It has a lot of importance in biological world. So water has maximum density at the temperature of 4 degrees centigrade. That means, if you take the ice, the temperature of the ice is 0 degree. Ice is normally floating on the surface of water. The reason is that ice is less dense than water, because water has the highest density at 4 degree. So just below the ice, there will be a layer of water which are 4 degree in centigrade, because that water is more denser than a solid ice. The solid type is less dense. That is why it is floating on the surface of water. So that is an important. So this kind of phenomenon leads to a situation known as thermal stratification. This is thermal stratification. There are normally 3 layers of water. One is an upper water known by the name epilimnion. Then there is a cool water called as hypolimnion. And normally in many different types of aquatic environment or ponds, there is a middle layer called thermocline. The importance of the thermocline is that it is a layer of small certain depth. It will not allow the mixing of upper water and lower water. If that mixing is taking place, it's okay. But the problem is that there will be middle layer called thermocline that will prevent the mixing of warm upper water and warm and cold lower water. So that situation is always there. So in most of the aquatic environment, we are finding a thermal stratification. Different layers will be there based on the water. Epilimnion is the upper region, hypolimnion is the lower region, and there is a middle region known by the thermocline. And thermocline is usually is causing lot of problem, because the lower water called hypolimnion, that may not be containing enough amount of nutrients, because there is no photosynthesis there. Because of the lack of photosynthesis, fish may not be able to survive in the lower layer. So, and the problem is that thermocline formation prevents the mixing of upper water and lower water. And sometimes what happens is that even though upper water contains a lot of oxygen, because of the formation of thermocline, lower water may not be having any oxygen, and that will lead to death of the fish. So that situation usually occurs in an aquatic pond, and that is why ideal depth of the aquaculture pond is always considered 2 meters, so that there is no chance for thermocline formation. So that is these are some of the important points that we have to take into consideration while building an aquaculture pond. Now we have 3 more topics that we will take in the next class.